Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So after failing to break out of our key short time frame structure, Bitcoin has had yet another rejection from the midline resistance of our macro descending channel. What does this mean for the future price action of Bitcoin? How are the short time frame charts developing after the recent rejection? And will Bitcoin ever break over this midline resistance? Let's dive into the video today to find out. Before we get into all that though, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more of my content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving right into the charts here, let's go ahead and talk about what on earth has happened over the last couple of days before we dive into our analysis. So over the last week, Bitcoin has been consolidating in a short time frame descending channel pattern. We started that on Thursday after some really bullish jobless claims data, and then from that rejection at 62,300, over the last week, we started to form these lower highs and lower lows, leading to our descending channel. Now, the whole point of this descending channel pattern was that upon breaking out of the upper trend line and above the prior high here, or the bullish trigger at 61,800, Bitcoin should have been able to sustain a measured move that took us to around 64k, right, the height of the channel. And that move all the way up to 64k would have facilitated a close above our macro structure midline resistance, which I'll go ahead and talk about in just a moment, as well as our short time frame bullish triggers right over here at 62,200. As well as our high time frame triggers, which was the daily close above 63,000. But unfortunately, what we ended up seeing was a break above that upper trend line, a rejection from the prior high here. We were unable to get a 4-hour candle close above that prior high. So then a formation of another lower high and a rejection back downwards. So Bitcoin has fallen back into that same descending channel and has recently retested at the base of support, or just above that base of support, at 58,300. So I think a lot of people were actually caught off guard by, first of all, the move upwards. We had a massive drop in open interest the moment Bitcoin rallied, and then a lot of longs got liquidated on the way back down. So if we take a look at recent market data, we can see liquidations are up by 35%. Open interest is relatively flat now, as plus 0.85, and 24-hour volume has increased by 16.6%. So let's go ahead and dive into our analysis, guys. Let's go ahead and first talk about the recent daily candle, right? So this one forming right here, that rejection from the midline and what it means, and then diving into an in-depth analysis on our short time frame charts, the new structures that we have developed from that recent lower high, and when we can maybe expect some sort of decision about either a breakdown from our support or a breakup from our midline resistance. So a final decision point and an exit of this chop zone over here. First of all though, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor Bitunix, where you can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards by using the code down in my description box when you create your account. Bitunix is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So moving into our daily chart, guys, what we can see from the daily chart and our most recent daily candle close, so it's about 9 minutes away, so I'm pretty sure it's going to close very similar to the way it's looking right now, unless something absolutely insane happens over the next 9 minutes. And because of that recent rejection that we've just seen from 61,300 overnight, we have seen a daily candle close that looks something like this. Now, this doesn't really look all that good, guys. So we know that the recent rejection has led to a rejection on these high time frame charts from the 50-day moving average, right, which was a really significant level for us to break over, as well as the midline resistance of our macro descending channel. Now, both of these levels of resistance, both the 50-day moving average and the midline of the channel, has historically represented levels of resistance that trigger a move to the range high of our macro channel. So that would mean upon breaking over these, we would see a move into this liquidity zone over here at around 68 to 69,000. So that's obviously what we want to see, guys, because after that recent move downwards, we want to know that Bitcoin has the strength in it to get that range high retest and continue on moving above our 200-day moving average, which was the macro bull market indicator, or I guess macro uptrend indicator, and potentially see that continuation into price discovery. So that is really the goal here in terms of the high time frame bullish trajectory, and we can see the significance of those two levels many times, rejecting below the midline and below that 50-day moving average. We see range low retests. We see it over here moving below 50. We move to the midline, below midline, range low retest. And so again over here, that first rally that we had on Thursday that led to the start of the formation of our short time frame descending channel, the reason why we ended up rejecting was, again, it was from that 50-day moving average, and then we closed below the midline. So they're really key levels for us to be breaking above, and we can see from this recent daily candle what a strong rejection that we have had. So we formed a very large wick on the top side on this daily chart with a very small body candle close that is red. So essentially what these charts are telling us is that this level of resistance that we have here around this region at 61,500 is still very much a very strong level of resistance. We do not have the strength to break over it just yet. We can see that from that really rapid and really brutal rejection back downwards there. So when we see a candle form like this, naturally the assumption is that we are going to continue rejecting. It is quite a bearish candle formation. But when we see it on the daily chart, that is when we need to zoom in and talk about this short time frame structure. So what do we have here that is going to facilitate or act as a base of support and support Bitcoin in, remaining above this level and continue to gain strength against those levels of resistance? Let's move over onto our short time frame analysis now. So on our 4-hour charts, we have horizontal short time frame support, our key short time frame support here between $57.5 and $58.3 thousand. Now we can see what a strong level of support it has been. We can see that, after that retest over here of support, we have been somewhat traveling in a short time frame uptrend. So Bitcoin has continued to gain strength against this level of upper resistance here after establishing that as a base of support. So that is a good sign, and particularly after this flash downwards. So this flash downwards is important because on the higher time frame charts, we saw a dip into this really key liquidity zone over here and it's key when we talk about the bearish case scenario. So dipping into this zone over here on the daily chart and closing below it on a daily time frame suggests a move into this liquidity gap over here and a move towards the range low of our macro channel, right? And that sits between $53 to $52,000. It is quite low, and it is on a trend line, so it is going to move the longer we are in this channel. It's going to go lower and lower the longer and further on we go. But as of right now, that lower region sits around 53 to 52k. Now the fact that we bounced so rapidly above from that level, from that liquidity zone there, and on the short time frame started to form a smaller time frame uptrend upon this level of support as well, above that level of horizontal support, is a really good sign. So it's showing us that, okay, Bitcoin does not want to go above this level of resistance, but it also does not seem to want to go below this major bearish trigger right now. So where we are currently on these short time frame charts is a chop zone where we are neither necessarily bullish or bearish. We're bullish above this level and we are bearish below here. So we are in, somewhat of a state of indecision. And if you take a look at the weekly chart, the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 very indecisive candles that look something like that. So the entire market right now is really just kind of confused. Which understandably, it has been a pretty crazy time. So now we want to know, okay, if Bitcoin does not want to go down and it's kind of fighting against this level of midline resistance, when are we going to see that sort of apex, that decision point? So let's go over back into the short time frame and discuss new developments in these structural patterns. So this recent descending channel over here, that has been invalidated now. So it doesn't exist. We've broken out of it. We broke back down into it. It's just all over the place now. It's clearly not holding as a valid structure. But what we can see is that despite that recent break upwards, we've still formed this lower low over here. So we have our new short time frame structure, this descending trend line over here, as well as our short time frame uptrend. And that gives us some sort of apex over here within our chop zone, right? So we have gaining strength against this level of resistance, and we have and a level of resistance, a descending level of resistance. So if we take a look at this structure, then we can see that as long as we hold this lower uptrend over here, and we hold our short time frame support as well, because falling below the uptrend will just retest support. We could consolidate once again in another uptrend. So while we're above both of these levels over here, we have a sort of deadline. So if we draw those two trend lines together, we can see that moving into this next weekend, Bitcoin might likely, let me just adjust that, will likely move into the apex of our structure over here, this symmetrical triangle formation. And upon that point, as we approach the weekend, right, this is a Saturday, Sunday sort of period. At the end of that week on Monday, or within that next week period, we will get some sort of decision where Bitcoin either breaks above our short time frame descending channel, and it will need to close a 4-hour candle above that prior high as well, so that one now being 61,300, our most recent rejection, or it will fall below our uptrend and be unable to sustain support, and we will see that bearish correction down into this liquidity zone, where the bearish case scenario starts to become more realistic. So let's dive in and talk about what we need to see to validate either both the bullish and the bearish case scenarios. So for the bullish case scenario, obviously the first thing that we're going to see is a break above our upper trend line over here, and on a 4-hour time frame, that includes a 4-hour candle close above that upper trend line. And on top of that, we need horizontal horizontal validation as well, because diagonals alone are not enough. We need those horizontal triggers, and that very first one is going to be at 61,300, that prior high over here, or the wick, the end of that prior high over here. So that's at 61,382. I've drawn in that red line so you guys can trace that to the price on the side there, and coincidentally that lines up perfectly with the midline of our macro structure as well, this blue dotted trend line of high time frame resistance that we have been rejecting in for the last couple of months. So a 4-hour candle close above this level here is going to facilitate a bullish continuation to this next region of resistance between $61.8 to $62.3 thousand, and upon sustaining a successful resistance to support flip and being able to hold above this level on a daily time frame, we have then successfully broken above the midline level of resistance on a daily chart. So if we manage to do that, the next key level of resistance we have on the high time frame is 63K, this horizontal level over here, which has historically acted as a bullish trigger point to range high retests, and it has been a really strong level of resistance in the start that has led to a much larger downwards correction historically. So that is the next high time frame level of resistance that we're looking to clear on the daily time frame to again suggest a move to the range high over here. So on the flip side, our bearish case scenario is going to start with naturally our structural level, a breakdown of our short time frame uptrend, as well as our horizontal support over here. So the prior low here at 67,700 and the base of our support level. Moving below that, we enter into this high time frame bearish zone once again, where on the daily time frame, if we close below that level, we are very likely to then see that bearish continuation into this liquidity zone and see a range low retest. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more of my content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to Bitunix to get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!